Location: Buckingham Palace, front courtyard, early morning. Tourists are gathering in growing numbers, their phones raised and smiles eager. The red-gold shimmer of the early London sun gleams on the polished rifles of the Queen's Guard. Captain Thomas Holloway takes his post, his expression a portrait of discipline, unmoving, unreadable. Nearby, we meet Rebecca Marshall, a single mother in her mid-30s, nervously holding the hand of her 6-year-old son, Eli, a bright-eyed boy with autism. He wears noise-canceling headphones and grips a plush toy guard in one hand. Rebecca whispers softly, "Remember, sweetheart, we don't cross the line. That's the guard's space." Eli nods, but he's already drawn to the gleam of the rifles and the powerful stillness of the soldiers. Location: Guardhouse interior. Flashback moments as Holloway suits up. Captain Holloway is a veteran of the Afghanistan War, now serving in ceremonial duties. He tightens his gloves with precision, eyeing a small photograph inside his locker. A child in uniform standing proudly beside him. He doesn't smile. "These posts aren't just for tourists," he murmurs to himself. "They're reminders, living history." Location: Palace Courtyard, 11:30 a.m. Tourists are shoulder to shoulder. Eli begins to grow uncomfortable. Too much noise, too many flashes. Rebecca pulls him closer. Suddenly, a balloon bursts. Eli flinches violently, pulling away from his mother's hand. Rebecca cries out, "Eli!" But he's already running, straight toward the red line, straight toward Holloway. Location: Steps of the guard's post. Gasps ripple through the crowd. Eli crosses the ceremonial red line. He stumbles, drops his toy, then looks up at the towering figure of Captain Holloway. For a second, two worlds freeze. Captain Holloway does not move. He is trained not to. His orders: do, not, react. But then he sees the child's trembling lip, the confusion in his eyes, the subtle flapping of his hands, a signal Holloway recognizes. Location: Flashback to a hospital room. 5 years earlier. We glimpse Holloway beside a hospital bed. His son, Samuel, wore a small Queen's Guard hat even in the ICU. He too was autistic, and he died, quietly, during Holloway's last deployment. Back in the present, Holloway's grip loosens on his rifle. With slow, deliberate motion, breaking every rule he's sworn to uphold, Captain Holloway lowers his rifle, kneels on one knee, and opens his hand. He offers the plush guard toy Eli had dropped. The entire courtyard is silent. "It's okay, soldier," he says quietly to Eli. "You crossed the line, and I'm glad you did." Location: Buckingham Palace Courtyard, just after Holloway kneels. No one speaks. The tourists who moments ago were giggling and filming are frozen. A few have lowered their phones. Some parents are visibly emotional, witnessing something they hadn't expected in a palace visit. Eli hesitates, then steps forward. He touches the offered toy in Captain Holloway's gloved palm. And then, without words, he hugs the soldier's leg. Gasps. A single camera click breaks the quiet. Location: Perimeter Security Station. Moments later, a radio buzzes. Code red. Civilian breach. Guard protocol violation. Two members of palace security rush from their post. Back in the courtyard, Holloway still kneels, calm, composed, but aware of the storm he's unleashed. Rebecca runs forward at last, grabbing Eli gently. "I am so sorry. He has autism. He doesn't always understand boundaries." Holloway meets her eyes for the first time. There's no anger, only memory. Neither did my son. Location: inside Buckingham, administrative wing. A supervisor speaks into a phone. "We have a breach. One of our guards abandoned his post. It's already on social media." Cut to clips of Holloway's kneel going viral. Mixed reactions, admiration, outrage, press questions. Has the Queen's Guard gone soft? Is this the most human moment ever caught at the palace? Location: Royal Guard headquarters. That afternoon, Holloway is called in by his superior, Commander Ainsley, a traditionalist in every sense. "Do you understand what you've done?" "I do, sir." "You're aware that breaking formation is grounds for dismissal?" "I am." "Then why, Captain? Why abandon your duty?" Holloway sets the plush toy gently on the desk. "Because sometimes duty is knowing when to break the rules." Silence. The commander's jaw tightens, but he doesn't respond. Montage around the UK and beyond. That evening, news anchors debate the incident. Social media erupts. "That's not a guard. That's a father." Tradition matters, but so does humanity. Is protocol more important than compassion? The video of Holloway and Eli is trending #1 worldwide. Rebecca releases a statement. "My son doesn't speak much. But that day, he said, 'Guard safe.' That's more than he's said in a week." Location: Royal Military Council Chamber. Confidential meeting. A tribunal begins. The old guard officers demand Holloway's immediate dismissal. But one voice, Lady Whitcomb, a decorated war veteran, disagrees. "Gentlemen, sometimes one broken protocol restores more faith in our institutions than 1,000 hours of perfect stillness." A decision is delayed. Location: Guard barracks. Holloway's room, late night. Holloway sits on his bunk, looking at the photo of his son. Suddenly, a knock. Rebecca and Eli enter quietly, allowed in by a sympathetic aide. Eli offers a drawing. A stick figure guard kneeling, smiling. Above it, Thomas. "He remembered your name," Rebecca whispers. "That's never happened before." Tears well up in Holloway's eyes. He doesn't speak. Instead, he salutes the boy. Location: Royal Council Chamber. Next morning. The commander steps forward, addressing Holloway. "Captain Holloway, by unanimous decision, your actions will not result in dismissal. However, you are to be temporarily relieved of ceremonial duties while we re-evaluate the rules surrounding exceptional civilian interactions." A pause. "You've reminded us of something important. This regiment doesn't just protect the crown. It represents the people." Location: Local Military Outreach Center. 1 week later, Holloway begins a new assignment, working with children of veterans, helping them understand the history and symbolism of the Guard. Eli is the first child enrolled. They march together, softly, step by step. Location: Buckingham Palace. Main gate. Sunrise. 1 week later, Captain Holloway walks toward the palace gates, not in uniform, but in a civilian coat. The tourists are already gathering. A child in the crowd spots him. "Look, Mom, that's the kneeling guard." He smiles softly, nods, but does not wave. The dignity remains. Location: Inner courtyard. Private Queen's Guard formation. Commander Ainsley addresses the regiment. "Today, we honor a different kind of discipline." Holloway is called forward. In front of the regiment, he's handed a sealed document. Inside, a commendation for exceptional judgment in upholding the spirit of the Crown's service. "You reminded the nation what this uniform means. Not just silence, but service." He salutes, emotion behind his eyes. Location: Rebecca's home. Living room. Eli watches the recording of Holloway's kneeling moment on TV. His fingers touch the screen gently. He turns to his mother. "He's brave." Rebecca freezes. Tears fill her eyes. "Yes, honey, he is." It's the first spontaneous full sentence he's spoken in over a year. Location: BBC Studio/social media compilation. Clips from interviews, op-eds, royal historians. Captain Holloway didn't break tradition. He evolved it. Every child saw a soldier kneel, and every parent saw a man who understands that service is also love. The video surpasses 80 million views. Petitions emerge. Train guards for special needs encounters. Parliament debates including Holloway's act in future ceremonial protocols. Location: Buckingham Palace, private audience chamber. Holloway stands in his dress uniform once again. A royal aide enters with a soft smile. Her Majesty regrets she cannot meet personally, but she's asked me to give you this. A small brooch, the emblem of service and grace, awarded only 3 times in the last 50 years. For reminding the world that strength is found not in unbending posture, but in choosing when to bend. Location: Buckingham Palace courtyard, a month later. Tourists gather again. A child sits on their parents' shoulders. The changing of the guard begins. But now it ends differently. As the formation concludes, Holloway turns toward the crowd. He spots Eli in the front row, holding the same stuffed soldier. With perfect military timing, Holloway raises his gloved hand and offers a single, crisp salute. Eli salutes back. The crowd cheers, not wildly, but with deep admiration. Location: Various locations across the UK. Children in schools drawing guards with kneeling poses. A veterans group names a support program after Holloway. A Guard Academy class studies his actions as part of Modern Royal Protocol. Holloway's voice closes the story. We are not statues. We are not silence. We are not protocol alone. We are soldiers, servants of the people and the ideals we swore to protect. And sometimes, the greatest act of strength is kneeling when the world least expects it.